Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Debbie. This is my Crafty Dan, and I am here with a little project today. I decided, because it was a rainy day and I was in my camper, not much I can do outside, so I decided to craft today. And I have a very small supply of crafting things with me here at the camper, and I decided that I wanted to make some ATC cards. So I've always wanted to try specimen cards, but cutting out the little windows and doing the laminating and it's not my cup of tea to be that finicky. I really love doing things that are simple and easy and that anybody can do. So I created these ATC cards instead of specimen cards. So it's kind of a cross between a specimen card and an ATC card. And I just thought I'd show you how I made these. I figured it's a rainy day. I may as well make a bunch of items up while I had my supplies out and to do a build your stash. So these are what I crafted up. So the first batch that I made are these. They're kind of this gray, silvery look to them. They're very pretty, very pretty. I like the way that they turned out, and I think that these would be really cute little tucks. I mean, they've got a white back on them. These would be like a small sized journaling card, just a place for a little secret note. And in a journal, maybe a nature journal or a plant journal, you could stick a few of these in pockets, put a couple in a little tuck in a corner. So I've crafted up a few of them. So I have this one with the leaves and berries. This one is just the plant, but it has the leaves, and then it's got this kind of a root system here, and then a secondary growth coming out of it. I don't even know what type of plant this is. I just really like them. Here are some more berries, red and black. Here's another plant. This is almost like a star, this bit of a pod. I think it's a seed pod, and it's just on this bit of greenery. I just think these are adorable. Absolutely adorable. Here's another one. These big seed pods. Just so pretty, and some more berries. So I did this grouping, and these aren't the ones that I worked on first. The ones that I worked on first were these, and the background is a little bit different on these. So I had some chipboard. You could use cereal box or anything like that. Just cut it down to ATC size. And then I made this one with the butterflies. This one has 2 butterflies, and this one has 2 butterflies. And then I did this one, and these 3 here that are kind of a set. Actually, these 4 here have the same background, and these 2 have the same background, and then these 2 have the same background. So yeah, you could use card, anything for these. They're so easy to make, and I'm going to show you how I did them. So I have a couple of the white ones cut out, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did to create these. So I started with just a 2.5 by 3.5 piece of white cardstock. I have this paper pad. It's from Dollarama. It's got black card. It's got this natural, and it's got the white. And it's kind of like a chipboard. It's a fairly heavyweight paper, not quite chipboard, but it's a really heavy cardstock. And I picked that up at the Dollarama for $4. I've been using that for ages. I also have this roll of tissue paper right here. Now this is something like the Tim Holtz tissue paper roll. It's the same width. When I made this, it was the same length as the Tim Holtz one. So all the same dimensions. And this is just stamped images on some tissue paper, just regular tissue paper that you can get anywhere for wrapping gifts, for anything else. So what I'm going to start with is I'm going to glue this tissue paper down to the card. So I like using this glue whenever I'm doing some paper projects because this is a permanent glue. Wet glue gives you just an extra minute to be able to move things around. It doesn't grab quite as fast. And this is the mono liquid glue, the Aqua from Tombow. And it has this spreader on the fat end of it. It's got a pointed end, but it's also got this spreader on this end, which makes these types of projects really easy. So I've got my glue down there. I'm just going to take my tissue paper and I'm going to set it over the top. And I'm just going to feather it out on top of the card with just gently with my fingers so that I don't tear the tissue paper. And make sure that I've got it down all around the edges and on my corners. I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm just going to cut just a piece of this off. And then, like I said, see here where it's just lifted up a bit? Just make sure that all your corners are glued down and all your edges are pressed down good. Because it's a wet glue, it is curling that a little bit, but it straightens out as it dries. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to set it aside until it dries. And then once it's dry, I have another one here. Once it's dry, I'm going to go around my edges and I'm just going to make sure that all my edges are down really good. And then I'm just going to trim this off with my scissors because that's the easiest way to do it. I've made a bunch of these today. So it's been raining all day. And what do you do on a rainy day? Like I said, I'm in my camper, so there isn't a whole lot of options. I could curl up and read, or I could watch a movie, but that's not going to take all day. And there. So I have my little card here, just like that. Now, I said this is 2.5 by 3.5 inches. That's the size of an ATC card. So what I've done is I took some of that same card and I cut a strip that was 2 inches wide, and then I cut that strip into 2-inch pieces. Because this is 2.5, that gives me 1/4 of an inch on either side, and I can leave that space at the top as well, and I can glue this down here. And I also took a strip that was 3/4 of an inch wide. This was just a long strip, and I cut 2-inch pieces of that so that I had my bottom pieces. So 2.5 by 3.5, and then 2 inches by 2 inches, and then 3/4 of an inch by 2 inches. And those are my dimensions. So I'm going to work on these 2 pieces next. So I said I have limited supplies here at the camper, and I brought my ink with me, but I didn't bring any kind of a blending tool with me. I thought I had a little finger dauber, but I can't find it in my box of stuff. I literally have 1 box of stuff. So that's not a problem. I grabbed myself a paintbrush, and you can make anything work. So all I did was I wanted to grunge these up really well. So I'm going all around the edge with the black. I think the black looks better on this. Now, if I had my, I'm trying to think of what colors. If I had a nice brown, a reddish brown would look really good on these as well. Maybe give it a sepia color or something like that. But what I wanted with these, what I was going for, was kind of a little bit of a grungy, marbly look. So I'm just going to take my brush, and I'm going to make a few smudges, and then I'm just going to brush a little wee bit across there so that it's not white. Just enough that it kind of has, rub a little, do a little bit of whatever makes you feel good. So I didn't spend too much time on this. That's all I did to those. But before I glued them on here, I'm going to use my brush, and I'm just going to go all around, and I'm going to edge my card. Like most projects, you spend more time waiting for your glue to dry than you do making them usually. So I have that one. And I've got another one here that I'm working on, so I may as well do them. And I'll dirty up one more of these. It doesn't matter how you apply it. Just get it, just dirty it up. Just kind of grunge it a bit. That's the look that I always like to go for. So I need another one of the little pieces. The same width as that. So and then just work at it until you're happy with it. So that's what I have. So I'm going to work on all 3 of these. This is that last one that I glued. It's dry enough for me to put a little bit on here as well. I like working on them in little groupings. There. And I'm going to need 2 more of these. There. So I have that. So now I'm going to glue these on. So I have my 3 cards. I'm just going to turn them up like this. Now these will straighten out. I told you they do curl up when you add wet glue. Anytime you add wet glue to paper, it curls up a little bit, but you can straighten it back out again. And I don't mind because I kind of think that it gives them a really aged look, like they've been sitting around in a drawer for 50 years. So that's why I thought the sepia colored ink would look really good on these. I'm almost out of this glue, but I don't want to open another one just yet. There. It just took a minute to run down to the other end. I like using the smaller end on the smaller bits. So I'm just going to go at the top, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to make sure that I have the same distance here, here, and at the top, just by eyeballing it as best I can. And then I'm going to take a little one. I'm going to put glue around the outside edge of it. Just like that. And then I'm going to, I've got this blank space here at the bottom. I'm going to place that there and center it as best I can on here, like this. And I'm going to do that with the other two cards as well. So I've got my top pieces glued on. So one of the things that I thought this needed when I was making them was a little bit of definition on the outside of these top pieces. So all I did was took my pen and I just drew a line just along the edge. See the difference that it makes? And I really think it needs it. And then on these, I just put a number at the bottom. Anybody get this one? So I used 5-digit numbers. I thought that one was kind of cute. So all I did was a capital N, a small O, and I did that on all of them. And that's basically your card. Then you want to turn this into your specimen style card. So a number, any number will do. And I just hand wrote mine like I would be if I was filling a card out. I just put any 5 numbers down. There. So any numbers, it doesn't matter what you write. I didn't even think about it. I'm done with my glue. Actually, I need my glue a little bit. So I'll show you what I used for the floral specimens. So not all specimen cards are insects. Some of them are plants. And that's what I was using on these ones. So this is a package of stickers that came from Temu, and it's called Berry Love. That's the number that it is. There's 20 different images, but there's 2 of each, so there's 40 stickers in here. So I just grabbed them, and these are clear vinyl stickers. So I just pulled the front off. But these don't stick down the greatest. So I'm going to add, because it's a clear sticker, I'm just going to add this. Now this dries clear as well. And I thought it would maybe help to keep these from falling off the page or from falling off my cards. So I'm just going to put just right down that stem. I'm just going to put a little line of the glue. And then this is bigger than my card. I didn't care if I went over the card. The whole thing had to be on the actual ATC card. That was my only criteria. So I'm just sticking that down like that. And there's another one. So if you do have any little bits that run over, my image is on there, but that plastic is actually hanging out over, and I don't want it to catch. That's what'll help it tear up if it does. So I'll fix it that way. I really like this one because it's a green one again, but I really think the ones with the different seed pods on them are interesting. So I'm going to take the back off of this one. My hands are dirty. I've been doing this all afternoon, so I've been hanging around that black ink too long. So like before, I'm just going to take my glue and I'm just going to I'm going to try to stay where there's image in front of it so that it doesn't show as much. I don't think it'll show much anyway because it's a clear glue. And I think I'll put this one this way. And I'm just going to put it down and press it down. There. So I have another one done. That's how easy these were to make, guys. So what else do I have on here? I have this berry, but that's not very interesting. Ooh, I have this one, and it's like 2 plants. There's a bit of a berry, a little bit of a sprig here, and then these leaves. So I like this one. So I'm going to pop that back off and do the same thing with the glue. I try not to touch that back very much because I don't want to get fingerprints on it because that would show. So I think maybe because those leaves are kind of squared at the top there, I'll put it on like this. And there, I have 3 more done. So it wasn't a long project to do at all. It was actually pretty easy. And now I have all of these little cards to tuck in. I could trade these in ATC swaps. I could send them in Happy Mail so that somebody else could use them in a nature journal. I have all of these. I think my favorites are this one with that bit of a star-shaped pod right there, and this one here with these big pods on it. I really, really like these big pods for some reason. The berries are pretty too, with those little hints of red. And so these little butterfly cards were made the same way. This background is exactly the same. With the darker paper behind it, it kind of gives this a light marbly look when you put the black on the white paper, which I think is really cool. I thought that these ones needed to have the edges defined a little bit more. I was just going for a different look. So I used a Crayola Super Tip. This is the navy blue one. And that's what I outlined this with instead of just the black pen. On the black and white, I thought that was enough. But on these ones, I wanted something with a little bit more definition. And the butterflies came from these packets of butterflies. These are just the paper butterflies that you get from Dollarama for $1.25. I had some pink ones, some orange ones, and these are the green and cream colored ones. Those are the ones that I used. And they range from anywhere from little small ones like this to those great big butterfly die cuts. So these two, the background on these two are just the craft paper, this natural craft paper. And I glued down the tissue paper on top of it and distressed it. And it kind of gives it this little bit of a grayish look, aged look to the craft paper, which I really liked. So I did two like that. And this set of 4 that I did, I had some 6 by 6 inch papers. These are also from Dollarama. There's just a whole bunch of different papers in packages. You can find all kinds of scrapbooking and crafting papers at Dollarama. And these 4 I cut out of one of these. And because the print goes in all the different directions, I just flipped it over, and on the back, I glued my 4 cards just like this, and then I cut them out, and all I had was that little wee 1 by 1 inch bit in the middle as scrap. So that's what the background is on these 4. And then these 2, I had part of a piece of paper of this. It is the music notes and this bit of lace, and that's what these ones are. So, and I actually went around the outside edge of these 2 as well. So that's all the cards that I made today. I made quite a few. So it definitely was a build your stash day. I like doing that every once in a while. And now I have a whole bunch of these cards that I can put in journals, or I can trade, or I can just send in Happy Mail. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you're watching. Let me know in the comments, the butterflies or the plant images. What do you like better, the plants or the butterflies? I actually am a butterfly fan, but in this case, I really like these plant images. I think they are really pretty, just really pretty. So If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so now before you leave. If you're so inclined, I would love for you to come back and become part of my YouTube family. And I'll see everybody in the next one. That's it for now. Bye-bye, everyone.